Good morning, good afternoon, coffee moaners. Hello, welcome to this later than advertised, later than planned coffee moaning episode. How are we all? How is everyone? Thank you for all your patience. I've just got back from the vets, taking dear Toffee and dear Pepper for a first appointment with lovely Adam. Who, bless him, the vet, you can hear Pepper barking in the other room, bless him, the vet, Adam, remembered immediately Chi-Chi, and remembered Chi-Chi because she was so sweet. It made me feel a bit emotional, actually. There she is. Isn't that lovely? So yeah, it was a kind of routine check. She's just, there was the possibility of mites in their ears. They don't have mites. She seems a bit itchy in her ear, so he's checked her ear. And we thought we'd check Toffee at the same time. Toffee's had an injection and she's flat out. So that's why we've been late this morning. Morning, Musical Chimp. Hi, welcome. And thank you for all of your comments yesterday on the live. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Eurovision. Eurovision allowing Israel to compete. This has caused countries to pull out. This has caused many of us in the real world to ask the question, once again, that what I enjoy doing is asked, which is, shit rail isn't even in Europe. I know, and if I see some other Zionist, high-profile actor, actress, lobby group person, representative shill of Israel saying, oh, everyone's just a bad sport because we won it last time, go check the actual statistics and go and check the facts of what you're saying, because actually it was clearly rigged. Phone numbers, I think all the data and all the tech tells us that phone calls, basically banks of phone calls were made to make the Israeli contestant. They didn't win last year, did they? They came second. So anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Eurovision. We're going to talk about whether Israel should be allowed to compete. It's a clear no for me. And I think it's, and we should also talk about whether, really more pressingly, whether Britain, the UK, should boycott it. I mean, the UK has done absolutely fuck all other than individual and groups of activists marching, using their social media platforms, using their profiles. But as a country, we've done fuck diddly squat to even gesture towards an acknowledgement or recognition of what Israel has done. And I feel that if there's a department or an area in which that could happen, Eurovision is it. I mean, I have to be honest with you, though. I find it a struggle, Eurovision. I've always hated it. It was like my nan would have it on in the background. I never liked any of the tunes. I never liked any of the bands. It was always a bit garish. Then I kind of got into, in a sort of counterintuitive fashion, maybe I've got the itchy ear, I got into in a sort of counterintuitive fashion. I kind of began to enjoy it only for Terry Wogan's running commentary, where he was clearly talking about how shit it all was. I thought that worked. Or Graham Norton, who was also talking about how shit it was. But now there seems to be this received idea, or there was before the genocide, that it was perhaps meaningful. It's never been meaningful. It's not meaningful, and it shouldn't be meaningful. And I don't think anyone competing in it should consider it to be meaningful, which some would argue, well, then why not just let everyone? Well, it's not, Israel's not in Europe. Unless the Greater Israel Project is to creep into Cyprus, Greece, Turkey, everywhere. I don't know, parts of the UK. Who knows? They're selling parts of Palestine, by the way, at a synagogue in St. John's Wood. Just in case you need to know that, I just thought I'd share that. Yeah, very high-profile synagogue in St. John's Wood is selling chunks of land in Gaza. So come on, guys, tell us. Give me a compelling argument. I think Elaine Denning in the chit chat. I just saw it as I was grabbing a coffee. Elaine Denning, you were saying it used to just be fun. I felt for you actually in what you were saying, because I think you were appealing back to a time when politics shouldn't be involved. But can I be brutally honest, Elaine? I think politics have always played a part in Eurovision, the Eurovision Song Contest. Does anyone else? I mean, in a weird way, whilst I hated it, the fact that my nan had it on TV kind of allowed me to see some basic facts. Britain still hates Germany. Britain still hates France. The vast majority of Europe hates the fuck out of us. Excuse me. I feel a bit salty today because we've got a dog called Pepper. And I just began to notice sort of, loyalties, hostilities, enmities, little kind of rivalries, jealousies. I'm trying to think of any other words with E's on the end. Do you get me? Linda Stevenson, haven't watched it since I was a kid. I mean, I haven't watched it in years. All I ever hear is just the awful sound, the guttural agony of people squealing. And then every now and then you'll see a film of someone who performed, who does something so outlandish and weird. Was there someone who was naked, descending from a spoon or something like that? Susan Selling says it's scandalous that Ireland is giving 125 million euros to Ukraine. The Ukraine situation is infinitely more complicated than the Western media would have us think. So this is big news. The news that Israel is to be included has sparked outrage. 4 countries to boycott Eurovision 2026 as Israel is cleared to compete. I think there's the contestant from last year. And I think, wasn't there even some controversy around the words that she used, or the chorus, or the idea that it was referring to October the 7th or something? I don't know. The idea it's not political is an absolute joke. And I just love it when Zionist lunatics run around going, oh, everyone just doesn't like the fact that we did so well. Yeah, because your fucking intelligence service and the Israeli government basically rigged it. It was rigged. But so 4 countries, and 4 countries boycott Eurovision over Israel's participation. And those countries have said the following. Ireland have said Ireland's participation remains unconscionable given the appalling loss of lives in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis there, which continues to put the lives of so many civilians at risk. Irish broadcaster RTE said. The Slovenian national broadcaster said taking part would conflict with its values of peace, equality, and respect, while Dutch broadcaster Avrotros said participation cannot be reconciled with the public values that are fundamental to our organization. Spain's culture minister said, you can't whitewash Israel. Given the genocide in Gaza, culture should be on the side of peace and justice. But Israel have been cleared to compete on Thursday, the 4th of December, despite being accused of cheating at this year's or last year's contest in which it came second. Spain has demanded an independent audit. Let me ask this question. Why is Eurovision fucking important, guys? Why is it in any way, shape or form, sorry, I just had a missed call. Why is it in any way, shape or form important? Tell me. Oh, me too. UK won't boycott. That would attract more bad press for the BBC. And we're going to talk about the BBC in a minute, because Farage goes fucking feral. Jesus, Farage goes full fascist, allegedly, when he was 14. Why is it? Why is it important? It isn't, Lucy Williams. No idea, says Tara Bashir. If the country doesn't, the act should. Mrs. Tiggerwinkle. Protesters were treated very harshly in Switzerland. Alison Barber, it will be the same. Oh, it certainly will be the same in Austria. I just think, sorry, bear with me 1 second. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. BBC needs a huge overhaul. Yes, but it needs a huge overhaul in the right direction. Just to say, to say that who's going to do the overhauling? That's the problem. The BBC board is full of, you're absolutely right, but it's not necessarily full, but it's Robbie Gibb, Zion. I mean, he's a Zionist. He's a fucking fully fledged Zionist. BBC Middle Eastern online news, run by a man who's a simpering gimp in the face of Mossad, which is why he writes books and goes, that's such privilege. Mossad's so amazing. But I just want to say, A, I don't think Eurovision matters too much, but B, it does, because it's a Eurovision Song Contest, and I think it's symbolic, and I think here is an opportunity to punish a country that has committed a fucking genocide, guys. Why are we pulling our punches? Why is everyone getting a bit kind of mealy-mouthed? Why is everyone so... What is everyone scared of? Can't be being called anti-Semitic, because everyone understands it's about Israel. I mean, everyone... I mean, our dogs know it's about Israel. Pepper, our new puppy, told us about the situation in the Middle East or the Arab world. The reason is it is seen as a political platform. By who? By people who wear sort of generic Euro clothes. I've never understood it. I've never understood I literally, it makes me angry, not it, but my inability to comprehend why it's important. It doesn't speak to great music. It doesn't speak to cult. It doesn't even speak to kitsch. I just don't want, and the reason it's important is I just don't want Israel there. Yeah, I've said it. Why is that? Why have people got a problem with that? There's a very good reason. They've killed they are the biggest cause of child death in the world this year. You wouldn't invite malaria, would you, to the Eurovision Song Contest? Or bubonic plague? You wouldn't invite a virus that's killing people. Would you invite terrorists? I mean, that's, you know, just saying it, just putting it out there. They've killed, they are the biggest cause of child deaths this year. I don't think they should be allowed to sing at Eurovision. Call me controversial. Oh, it does make me annoyed. It does make... We are living in 1984 on steroids, musical chimp. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, steroids into the big brother eye. Sorry if you're listening. What was that? That's weird. So yeah, so those are the countries that have pulled out: Netherlands, Slovenia, Ireland, and Spain. Good for them. Good for them. I think that's right. Ireland, Spain, Slovenia, Netherlands pull out after decision not to hold a vote on Israel's. They didn't even hold a vote on Israel's participation. I've got an image here. Look, this is quite funny. So hang on. So 4 countries to boycott Eurovision. Look, this is how showbiz. This is how showbiz the Eurovision Song Contest is. Look at this long lens paparazzi shot of delegates leaving the headquarters of the European Broadcasting Union after the first day of a 2-day General Assembly on Thursday. Fuck me, that looks boring. They look like they desperately need a fag, a cigarette outside, because it looks tedious. But wasn't there a moment, not this year just gone, but the year before, where that fabulous young actor and singer who was in that, fabulous drama written by Russell Davies, in which... Did he have AIDS? I think he did. It was kind of it was a moment. He was a moment. He was a vibe. He was a dude. It was a thing. What do you call it? It was a mood. Yeah, well, thanks, Chris 333337. What the fuck? Only 4 countries. Shocking. Only 4 countries. You know, the UK. I tell you what, though. Which artist would want to sing for the UK? Because whoever does sing for the UK, quite rightly, are going to be protested. Ollie something, that's it. Ollie something, that's it. Deadline are reporting Europe divided as Eurovision allows Israel to compete in 2026. BBC weighs in. The BBC, here we go, me too. The BBC is among those to have thrown weight behind the decision to allow Israel to compete. You know why? Because as they did with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, the Zionist lobby, the Israeli lobby, has got everyone so fucking scared of their own shadows. That's why the BBC are now saying, yeah, they've got to be allowed in. It's got to be inclusive. Inclusive. I've got a really interesting fact for you. You ready for it? If Israel is allowed into the Eurovision Song Contest on a purely geographical basis, Gaza is closer to Europe than Israel. We should have a sing-off. I think there should be a Palestine versus Israel sing-off. Something. So the BBC have thrown their weight behind the decision to allow Israel to compete in the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest. A large majority European Broadcasting Union members yesterday effectively approved Israel's participation in a silent ballot. The BBC said, "We support the..." They say it's about being inclusive. Sorry, Israel isn't in Europe. You're right, Robert Marriott. Germany have said that they would withdraw from Eurovision if Israel's kicked out. Germany needs to take a good, long, hard look at itself in the mirror. Yes, I notice I keep freezing. Hopefully it'll stop now. Germany needs to take a long, hard, inquiring look at themselves in the mirror. The first to want to start selling arms again to genocidal maniacs. Shall I pivot you over to, I'm just going to change Wi-Fi provider. Bear with me one sec. I will disappear for a moment and then I will come back. Bing! Is that better? Am I back? I hope so. I'll be back. Hopefully that will be a little bit steadier. Australia might withdraw too, says someone that's just flown up. Yes, back. Come off Spotify because of them selling arms and not paying artists, says Raspberry Mojito Girl. Yeah, so the BBC are like a cat on a hot tin roof. I love that phrase, don't you? I love that phrase, cat on. I mean, I don't like it for the cat. It must be horrible. But, you know, it's such a sharp visual. So the BBC shitting themselves. Really, what the Zionists say? Because they're going to call our shadow anti-Semitic. So that's why the BBC have got behind it in a spineless fashion. And so, you know, pivoting back to the idea that the BBC needs to be overhauled. Yeah, of course they do. But be careful what you wish for. It needs to be overhauled down the middle. Get rid of the Zionist bastards in the governing board. Get rid of the guy who fucking is literally entranced and romantically involved with the image of Mossad, who runs BBC's Middle Eastern online news. Fucking hell. But you would also lose some fantastic journalists who do work for the BBC too. You'd lose the possibility for documentaries like The Settlers. You would lose people like Jeremy Bowen, you know, and there are many other journalists in there trying to do their bit as best as they can. So, yeah, I don't know. I fucking hate Eurovision. I fucking hate all the songs. I hate the fucking and also I hate this. If you don't like it, people say you're such a killjoy. You're so elitist. No, it's just shit. And so what makes it not shit is a really clever, funny, intelligent Graham Norton, Terry Wogan-esque voiceover saying, isn't this shit? And then I'm like, yeah, I'll sit and watch that because it's quite funny. Let's laugh at it. Laugh at it, yeah. But I don't think enough people laugh at it anymore. And now I just want it to end because Israel, the genocidal maniacs of the world, are included and they shouldn't be involved. So there you go. Short, sharp shock and get them out. Get them out. And if we are partaking in it and if we don't boycott it, I think there should be huge protests and everyone should be made to feel awful about being part of it. It's as simple as that. So I just want to move on to Nigel Farage. But on the way to Nigel Farage, I just want to show you this meme. There's a great account. Please follow the account Fibby McFibface. I think that's his name. He's fantastic. Well, she's fantastic. That is a he or she. They just post brilliant. They capture the mood, man. And this is a still from The Wizard of Oz. But look at the speech bubbles. But how do you live without a brain? Well, I blame everything on immigrants and march every Saturday with a flag shouting about Muslims. I don't know why. Just kind of gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Gets to the heart of it. So, guys, we're going to talk about Farage. I've got his speech. But before we go to Farage, Let's have a moment of brevity, a moment of lightness. Has anyone seen this person or this creature fly tipping? And if you have, you need to report them. Though I personally, if I did know who it was, wouldn't, because I think, oh, I hope we see you again on CCTV. Do you know this T-Rex? Hunt is on for a fly tipper in disguise. What I love about this footage of a person dressed in a purple T-Rex inflatable suit is their tiny little hands are so believable, aren't they? They're so, look, he's running across the road, 2 bags. Whoop. He doesn't even get them in the bin. Oh no, he throws them on the floor. They don't look heavy. It looks like I don't know why. Personally, if you issued him with is it a penalty charge notice? If I saw the CCTV, I'd be, let him go, Bob. Bob, you see this fucking purple T-Rex fucking fly tipping bags? Oh, let him off. All right. What's a fly tipper? Good question. Someone who just chucks rubbish somewhere they're not supposed to. Not in your own bin. Put it in your bin or take it to the fucking dump. Have you ever put one of these on? One of the best days of my life, Alison Barber. We didn't do it last year for Vlogmas, but traditionally, most years, we've always all had some kind of strange inflatable outfit. And I think we need to bring it back. And I think we need to quite literally make tits of ourselves. So there you go. There, a little bit of moment of light brevity. We've got some other funny clips too. I've got Prince Harry lip syncing. I personally think quite well. He's coming for a bit of stick. I've got some strange canine robots with heads on them. Yeah, I've got that clip too. I've also got Nigel. Well, I've got a really interesting. And Trump calls JD Vance a fucking idiot or incompetent or something like that. We've got a moment from Zach, and we've got a few other funnies too. Okay, so front top of, well, certainly not the right-wing press, but The Guardian reporting Holocaust survivors call on Nigel Farage to apologise over alleged anti-Semitic comments. Oh, when the chicken comes home to roost. I just, oh God, that's mushy mustard. Yes, that's pepper. Wow. So I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, since the October the 7th genocide started, and it hasn't stopped, it's just slow motion genocide and an amplification of genocide in the West. Nothing has stopped. It's carrying on. Not as many deaths every day, just to make it a bit more palatable and forgettable for the West, and everyone can go, oh, let's just get on about our business, stop moaning about it, get over it. It's only 3 Palestinians dead today, wee, wee, all that sort of stuff. But there used to be a time before October the 7th, when if a Holocaust survivor spoke, quite rightly so, everyone would be enthralled and would be respectful and would consider what was being said. But it would appear that when they said we must never forget, it was only we must never forget this one for the chosen people. And we must just not forget any other ones, but certainly ignore them if the chosen people, who them, you know, Israel, if it's done unto others. So it's like ever since October the 7th, it's felt like Israel has sought to patent and copyright owners, sort of establish a copyright ownership on the term genocide and Holocaust. It can only happen to us. It can't happen to anyone else. Shut up. But there used to be a time, guys, when Israel attacked Gaza or the West Bank, when loads of international neutral aid workers and observers and specialists would go in and examine it to work out if a war crime had been done. That's so old tack. That's gone out with the ark. We don't send people in. I mean, Israel don't let anyone in. Holocaust survivors call on Nigel Farage to apologise. I'm being deeply sarcastic when I call them that, Eddie Bevington. I'm going to call you Eddie today. Holocaust survivors call on Nigel Farage to apologise over alleged anti-Semitic comments. I would pay an enormous amount of money to be a nasty fly, a nasty evil fly, but a bit bemused, a sort of dopey fly because it's winter, on the wall. I'd pay good money to be a fly on the wall as the guy who wrote the article for the Jewish Chronicle, essentially apologizing for and legitimizing Nigel Farage's extremist views as a young adult, as a student and as a young adult. It reached until he was 18, don't forget. Stephen Pollard of the Jewish Chronicle and the Telegraph sought to legitimize, excuse, massage, minimize, justify and explain away the anti-Semitism and essentially sort of, you could argue, Holocaust amplifier, sort of, that he relished the Holocaust with some of the things that he did at school, Nigel Farage. But the Jewish Chronicle sought to say that it was all the BBC's fault and the Guardian's fault for telling him, saying to Nigel Farage, that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing to be anti-Semitic. The Jewish Chronicle said, don't attack Farage. So what will the Jewish Chronicle say to the Holocaust survivors who are calling on Nigel Farage to apologize over alleged anti-Semitic comments? What will the Israeli government say? Are they all now self-hating Jews? Are Holocaust survivors, according to the logic of Netanyahu's extremist, fascist, white supremacist government and regime, are Holocaust survivors now self-hating Jews if they are calling Farage out for his anti-Semitic comments? What do you think, guys? It feels a little bit hypocritical. A group of Holocaust survivors have demanded that Nigel Farage tell the truth and apologize for the anti-Semitic comments that fellow pupils of Dulwich College allege he made towards Jewish pupils. What's remarkable about this story is that Nigel Farage thought it would never, ever come out. Or what's more remarkable about this story is, why has it only come out now? I mean, and there's always a reason. And I'm sure Farage is standing there thinking, why has this only come out now? Because to be brutally honest with you, given where we live in London, we've known about this for years. We've mentioned it for you. You can't, but we never felt we could say it because we didn't have first-hand experience of it, which is why it was important that his school classmates, well, I'm sure they wouldn't call themselves classmates, that they sort of shared their testimonies. The Reform UK leader has said he never racially abused anyone with intent. He may, which I suppose allows him to have perhaps insulted them in an anti-Semitic or racist fashion by accident. Maybe it was just by accident. So Holocaust survivor, in a letter to Farage seen by The Guardian, 11 survivors said, as Holocaust survivors, we understand the danger of hateful words because we have seen where such words lead. And we've also seen where those words lead when they come out of the mouths of genocidal maniacs that run Israel. It's no different, unfortunately. It's no different. As we keep saying, lest we forget, lest we forget. So Holocaust survivors call on Nigel Farage, and his hands in the air like he just doesn't care. And so, you know, I mean, is he going to push back against Holocaust survivors? Is that the Guardian's fault? Is that their fault for being in the Holocaust? Are they wrong? How's he going to, I mean, you know, how's he going to grapple with this? Chris, please don't forget the Palestinian hostages tortured, group raped, starved in Israeli torture prison dungeons, 400. Absolutely. We talk so much about the fact that Palestinians, when they are kidnapped, are prisoners. But when Israelis are kidnapped, they're hostages. They're all hostages. No, there should be no hostages. We don't want anyone taken hostage. It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible, terrible thing. But it's an equally horrible, terrible thing. And Israel holds infinitely more Palestinian hostages than Hamas ever held. But no one cares about them. So Farage has now turned on the broadcasters over racism allegations as number of claims hits 28. Now, the number of claims is the number of student colleagues, friends, people that he stood alongside. He used to do the hissing sound of the gas coming on in the showers, and he'd say things like Hitler was right, and things like that. You know, I mean, these are things that, you know, look, we could forgive him if he was to come out and say, look, I was an absolute twingo. I didn't know me arse from me elbow. I didn't know me elbow from my arse. I was talking lots of shit. I thought I was being clever. I thought I was being offensive. I'm trying to help him out here. You know, Farage, if you watch this, I'm trying to help you out. Just say this. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it. It was locker room banter, but I understand and I recognize I turned to perhaps the most extremist ideology on the planet, in the world, something that kind of aligns with far-right politics. And I'm the leader of what really amounts to a far-right party, which is why it matters, you moron. It's why it matters, you total twingo. you trying to tell us that you helm a party against immigration, and when you were goose stepping around the yard at Dulwich College doing the gas tap hiss, that hasn't, I don't know, your political opinions weren't marinated in all that sort of stuff? Come on, pull the other one. So yeah, so anyway, but he's turned on the broadcast. I'm going to play you a clip from Farage in a moment. Prepare yourself. He gets cross. I haven't seen him rattled. I haven't seen him rattled in the way that he seems a bit rattled at the moment. I'm just going to ask you now, does anyone think he should resign because of this? Or do you think that if he was to apologize, it would allow him to, do you think he should resign? Do you think he should apologize? This was the poll I did on Instagram, but I was dashing to the vets. Should he resign? Should he apologize? Or should he resign and apologize? I suppose the apologize is, should he apologize and stay? I don't know. Share your thoughts. Farage, reform leader, suggests he would boycott the BBC, saying he has also had a letter from Dulwich pupils defending him. An angry performance at a press conference in London. Well, rather than reading what he said, Debbie Tynan just sums it up. Simply, in her opinion, I always try and help you out legally, guys. In Debbie Tynan's opinion, he's just a knob. I'm sure he said that of people before. Anchar Windhouse. Sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Both. Me too. What do you think? No, that Robert Marriott. No, that's been proven false by full factor. Okay, sorry, you're having a cross chat. Apology is admittance of guilt. Why would he apologise? Edward Bevington, Eddie Bevs. Yeah, no, they always say in politics, never apologise. Was it never apologise, never forget? No, I'm thinking of Meryl Streep as a suffragette now. Can't remember what it was. He should be deported to the moon, says Anne H. What about the poor old interstellar object? Apparently there's a school of thought that thinks there's a fucking spaceship on the dark side of the moon. That's what Pink Floyd said. Linda Stevenson, resign. He will not mean any apology anyway. It will just be words. Interesting that he couldn't. That's an interesting point. He couldn't even feel he could pretend to apologize. What does that speak about? Paul Moon, says Persephone. Media class are feeling guilty for enabling Farage. Oh, me too. Good point. They really have. And Zach Polanski, I keep nearly saying Zach Goldsmith, couldn't be more patently opposite. Zach Polanski said on Question Time last night, he made a really good point. It was an immigration special. And he made the point, why don't you have, I don't know, cost of living special, or tax the uber wealthy special, or why don't you have the RNHS special? The BBC doing a Question Time about immigration is literally dancing on a cat on a hot tin roof, dancing to reforms messaging. I mean, he's done a spectacular job of making immigration and asylum seeking the mainstay of the nation, when it accounts for very little of what really makes most people's lives fucking miserable, which is why everyone's fucking diagnosed with mental health crises. And now we've got Wes Streeting saying we're not going to diagnose you. You feel depressed, you feel fucking hopeless because you live here in the UK. And if you live, you know what the weirdest part of all of it is? If we didn't have immigration and we didn't have migrants, we wouldn't have any of the fucking services that we've got. It's such a fucking joke. Oh, it makes me almost want to wet myself. Why can't he be sacked? Because he runs the company. Anyway, what I'm about to show you Farage's speech. It's a long clip, Sky News clip. And as we move through it, we'll stop and start. We'll kind of have comments. We'll have little thoughts about it. We like that, don't we? It's like being at class. Let's have a little kind of, stop and start. I quite like the Midas Touch YouTube channel. They do that. Play the clip. Do you notice the way he says that? It doesn't annoy me. He goes, play the clip. So you don't need to say play the clip. Just play the clip. So I'm going to play the clip when I say play the clip. But I don't like saying play the clip. Okay, pause. Baked into this, Me Too, interesting point. Media are trying now to reverse, backtrack, which is probably why they're inviting Zach Polanski onto everything too. But at the same time, I think baked into what you're about to hear from Farage is, I almost feel this was his least authentic self. He's overperforming his fury and outrage at British broadcasters because he thinks this is part of Trump's playbook. And let's not forget, Trump's installed someone at CBS. He's sued other people. He's got Fox, and he's trying to compromise the entire broadcasting situation in America. On that, good news, Warner Brothers, any movie fans in the room, Netflix is the company that they've gone with, but will it happen? Anyone into movie business will understand. So I think what Farage is telling us all here, and what he's indicating here in his fury, is quite performative. I think like an actor, he's methoded this. He can't stand the BBC, but he's going to go. He wants to really hate the BBC, so that when and if he does come into power, and I think he still could, even though they've gone down in the polls a bit, it would be a coalition between him and Kemi Badenoch. I think what he's trying to tell us all is vengeance will be sweet when he delivers it on a plate. So I think the BBC is very much telling the British media, I will be coming for you. So let's have a listen.
This morning's performance by one of your lower grade presenters on the Today programme was utterly disgraceful. I think to frame a question around the leader of Reform's relationship with Hitler, which is how she framed it, was despicable, disgusting, beyond belief.
Okay, let's just pause there. One thing he's adopted from Donald Trump is he's talking about the leader of the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, as if he's not him. He's suddenly third-personing himself. It's like, no, this is about you. You don't pretend you're getting cross on someone else's behalf. You can't get cross on your own behalf as if you're not you. This is about you. This isn't someone else. Don't be outraged on behalf of the leader of the Reform Party. That's you moron.
That 500,000 people every year refuse to pay the licence fee. But let me say this to you. The double standards and hypocrisy of the BBC are absolutely astonishing.
Really? Are they? What's he threatening here? I think he's threatening, he's already mentioned licence fee. He's already mentioned people who don't pay the licence fee. He's talking about hypocrisy. I've talked many times as well about the fact that you cannot, I don't sign up to anyone who says, oh, get rid of the BBC. I don't mean there shouldn't be an overhaul. I think it should be depoliticized completely. I think, however, and how does one do that? That in and of itself is incredibly complicated. But at the same time, and I think its funding model should shift to some kind of subscription aspect. But he's clearly saying here, what he's saying here is he's threatening and he's mentioning the funding system of the BBC by talking about those license fee payers that don't pay already. That's what he's saying. Double standards. But the BBC, this is my point, the BBC, for anyone who just goes, oh, they're rubbish, it's a multifaceted organization. I promise you, if the BBC were gone tomorrow, we would be a much impoverished, culturally impoverished, broadcast impoverished country. We would, whether we like it or not. And that's me saying that as being entirely distressed and disappointed by most of its coverage of the Israeli genocide. Anyway, let's return to Fag Face.
The time I was alleged to have made these remarks, one of your most popular weekly shows was the Black and White Minstrels, right? The BBC were very happy to use blackface. Oh, and not just in the Black and White Minstrels, you did it in It Ain't Half Hot Mum as well.
I never saw on my bingo card, or thought I'd see on my bingo card, Nigel Farage's defense of his pubescent fascism. I never ever considered the fact that he would invoke the BBC's broadcasting of It Ain't Half Hot Mum as a line of defense. I think the difference here is, and I think it's unfortunately he's fallen into his own trap, is that even the BBC has moved on vastly from the mistakes and the baked in racism that was in the whole of society back in the 70s and 80s. Just listen to Lenny Henry talk about how he climbed through an incredibly racist industry. So the fact that he's invoking the Black and White Minstrel show, horrendous show. The fact that he's invoking It Ain't Half Hot Mum, a horrendous show, as some kind of defense speaks to just how fucking archaic he is, because really, he still hasn't proven to us that his views that he holds now are massively different to those he held back then.
Put up with the double standards of the BBC about what I'm alleged to have said 49 years ago and what you were putting out on mainstream content. So I want an apology from the BBC for virtually everything you did throughout the 1970s and 80s. And I will respond to your direct question. I've received many letters over the course of the last few days from people that I was at school with. This one I think is particularly relevant. I was a Jewish pupil at Dulwich College at the same time, and I remember him very well. While there was plenty of macho, tongue-in-cheek schoolboy banter, it was humour. And yes, sometimes it was offensive, rather like most of the BBC's output, but never with malice. I never heard him racially abuse anyone. If he had, he would have been reported and punished. He wasn't. The news stories are without evidence except for belatedly politically dubious recollections from nearly half a century ago. Back in the 1970s, the culture was very different.
So, he has a letter, allegedly from a Jewish former Dulwich College student. That doesn't prove anything. That doesn't change anything. If anything, it speaks to the possibility of, we're even witnessing how the Israeli fascist regime invites reform over for coffee and tea. Just because you have someone who didn't find it offensive and you can say that they're Jewish doesn't mean what you said and did wasn't offensive. We have Israeli Jewish Zionists running Israel who are best described as fascists. It's unfortunately the weird political circle has come full circle. You can be anti-Semitic and you can lead Israel. Because I would say that Benjamin Netanyahu, Ben Gvir, they are some of the most anti-Semitic individuals on the planet.
You should reflect on that, especially at Dulwich. Lots of boys said things they'd regret today or just laugh at. Whilst Nigel stood out, he was neither aggressive nor a racist. If I can help in any way, let me know. And I've had plenty of those messages.
Love BB.
Of the last few days, and I'm sick to death of the double standards and hypocrisy, above all, of your organisation. And what happened on the Today programme this morning was a complete bloody disgrace. Next, Sam Coates from Sky News. No, I'm done with you, thank you.
But my question was, he said they were lying.
Sam Coates from Sky. I'm really, until you apologise for all of your output, your appalling output, at the same time that I'm accused of saying these things which I deny, I'm not speaking to you.
Oh my God, it's like being in the playground at Dulwich College. I'm not speaking to you. Until you say sorry for it ain't half hot, Mum, I'm not speaking to you. How many letters like that has he received? Anyway, we've got some interesting footage that's just landed. Nigel Farage reading through some of the other letters he's received. Check this out.
Big Ben's just behind me, and I asked primary schools in the Clacton area to send in their drawings that I would use for a Christmas card. The winner, well, it's going to be Dolly from Walton-on-Monet's primary, and that's her card, and that's going to be my main Christmas card this year that goes out. She's year 4. Runner-up that really did make me laugh. This one with the Christmas pudding, I love this.
Shove this up your arse, Holly First, it says. And I'm rather proud to say this comes from a student at Holland Park, my school.
From Holland Park School that brought a real smile to my face. It was different, it was fun.
He gets lots of letters, does our Nigel. Just on the note, on the point, on the topic of migration, immigration, etc., which he sought to make, the central kind of topic in this country. Let me just get rid of these. I'm just clearing up my... I just want to show you, this is a moment that Danny fucking Price has uploaded or posted. Do check out Zach Polanski on Question Time last night. This is a short clip uploaded on Instagram by Danny fucking Price.
doesn't.
Margaret Thatcher said there's no such thing as society, and then the Tories over 14 years shut the community centres down. How do you expect people to integrate if they've got nowhere to gather together, to pray together, to eat together, even to disagree together? English language learning for foreign nationals has been cut by 25% over the last 10 years. The last thing I want to say, as soon as I got off the train today in Dover, a woman recognised me and she said to me, we are not obsessed with immigration in Dover. Actually, the things we care about are our NHS, our libraries and our schools. We've had an This is an immigration special, but when are we going to have a cost of living special, or a climate special, or a tax for rich special?
Good point. Good point. The mainstream media just always responding to Nigel Farage's editorial interests. MeTube, let us know when you've read through fully the Green Party's economic policies. I just want to show you this now before we go to a very odd story. This is Prince Harry, who apparently people are reporting, this is cringe, this is ick. So I clicked on it thinking, oh no, what's he done? Is he going to regret this? I don't know about anyone else. Let's just park to the side Harry and Meghan and what you might all think about them. I just, I thought he was quite good at lip syncing. Check this out.
If you was treated like a king for the day, what would you want me to do for you?
Beg for me, probably.
You'd want me to do what? Beg?
Beg.
Beg? Beg?
B-A-K. Beg.
What?
Bake.
Oh, bake!
I thought he was quite good. I can't wait for the knock on the door from UK ICE if reform get in, says Elaine 6169. Yeah, Nadia's dad's looking forward to that knock on the door too. We'd be amazed how many people, if ICE was replicated here, how many people we all know would be removed. I thought he was, personally, sorry, just going back to old Prince Harry there, I don't know if he's still called, the artist formerly known as Prince, just check that, I thought it was funny.
Like a king for the day. Treated like a king for the day, what would you want?
It keeps catching at the beginning, hang on.
So if you was treated like a king for the day, what would you want me to do for you?
Beg for me, probably.
You'd want me to do what? Beg?
Beg. Beg.
Beg?
B-A-K. Beg.
What?
Bake.
Oh, bake!
I think that was very good. I think that's very good. This is going to scare people. CNN report. Christos, I know you sent me a clip of this as well yesterday. I did see this. At first, I thought, oh, there's something really disturbing about this. But check this out. This is well, it's a CNN report, I think.
Yes, that is a robot dog with Mark Zuckerberg's head. And yes, it's pooping a printed image. The artist known as Beeple created the robots, called Regular Animals, featured at Art Basel's 010 space.
That's one with Jeff Bezos' head. I'm just going to clear the audio on that. But look at it. Aren't they weird? These are like robotic dogs with sort of, prosthetic heads. There's Andy Warhol. There's, who's that? That's Picasso in the background. There's Musk. There's Zuckerberg. Musk with more hair than he's got. And look, there's even a shake on the hair that's real. Oh, makes me feel a bit creepy, that one. Makes me think of, just makes me think of horrible things. In other news, Donald Trump called JD Vance incompetent, or did he? Or didn't he? Or is he losing his mind?
Over the fraud scandal in his state.
And who should?
Tim Walz. Over the fraud scandal in his state.
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched JD destroy him in the debate. I was saying, who is more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent, and I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field in this for the nomination.
What? He did just say that JD Vance is incompetent. Fucking hell. I mean, you just don't know what's going to come out of his mouth, do you, next? It's just astonishing. Controversial news. Oh, not controversial news. Controversial adult star Bonnie Blue has been arrested in Bali. The reason I pulled this in was when I saw this pop up as breaking news, I just can't actually believe what she does. Controversial adult star Bonnie Blue arrested in Bali whilst on her Bang Bus tour to pick up barely legal tourists. Just there she is with her bang bus driving around, basically trying to have sex with barely legal boys, schoolboys, and what have you. I mean, what is that? Elaine Denning? It's a fake. Is it a fake story? Is it a real story? She apparently she staged being arrested, didn't she, outside a place somewhere? She employed actresses and all that kind of stuff. I just find it absolutely bizarre. If you don't know, Bonnie Blue, she's the woman who very famously, had sex with 1,000 people or something. It almost scares me. It scares me that is it woman empowerment? No, I don't think it is. I think it's a woman whose mental sort of approach to what it means to be a woman and a man has been hijacked by the same misogynist thinking of men. But it's just bizarre. She's bizarre. Elaine Denny, you're talking about a previous story. This is a new one. She's in Bali touring on a bus, and she's been arrested by the Balinese police. I don't see any part of it that's empowering. I don't see any part of it that's empowering for women or her or anyone. It doesn't reverse anything, doesn't change anything. It's just wrong in every conceivable way. I just want to share this. Look what you've done to my children. A tale of winter wonderland disasters. I showed you a clip the other day of winter wonderland. Do not go there. Do not spend your money paying £5 to get in, to then be fleeced for £10 a ride. It's not worth it. It's horrendous. It's horrible. It's muddy. It's cold. It's vast. It's threatening. It's intolerable. Don't go. But it's not the only place not to go to. So The Guardian have done a piece called "Look What You've Done to My Children: A Tale of Winter Wonderland Disasters." Does anyone remember the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory fiasco? Was that last year or the year before? I don't know if that was necessarily a Christmas event, but look at this. Lapland, weigh in. That's so magical, isn't it? So magical. And this is just a piece just covering the idea of just do your research, because AI is allowing a lot of these organizations. I mean, Buckingham Palace Market. I don't know if anyone saw that one. Dina sent me the link saying, we should go here. And it was an AI created market running up the Pall Mall up to the palace. But it was all AI. There is no fucking market on Pall Mall, and never has been in the history of London. And I remember thinking, this is unusual. And if it happens, wow. But look, Lapland, weigh in. Look at this. You go into the woods and there's a fake polar bear standing in dandruff. Last year, Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen apparently put his name to something similar. Those elves don't look like elves. And apparently even at Harrods, people were complaining that at Santa's Grotto in Harrods last year, he would only see the wealthiest children. So basically, you queued up for Santa's Grotto at Harrods, and basically they'd come down the line, the elves, and they'd say, how much are you willing to pay? And the parents would go, 5,000. All right, I can put him down the front. I mean, literally. You take a photo with the bear, would you, Persephone? Look, festive fail compared to viral Wonka experience. Christmas spectacular in Bury St. Edmunds has been cancelled after ticket holders. Look at that. I mean, that fucking hell. It makes me so angry when people are scratching their pennies together or scratching their heads with in terms of what to spend their pennies on. And then look at this ice rink. The ice rink at the event was made of plastic, according to Mr. Prescott, whose daughter was left disappointed. Oh, and once you've made the journey and you've got to the gates and you've got kids and they're going, oh, please, please. Just awful. And then you get in there and a musical chimp says there's companies trying to get people to sell their photos for $1,000 for them to use in videos. AI is a threat to actors, musicians, artists, game designers, and so many other professions. You're right. It's the only thing I've seen Elton John really put his name to. At least he's put his name to something. And finally, I just thought we'd go out on this. This is a sketch. I don't know if it's a program. I don't know if it's just an Instagram account, social media account. This is it's reasonably funny to end on. Woman doing a skit in which she impersonates Caroline Levitt, Donald Trump's press spokesperson.
Okay, you friggin' vultures, what dumbass questions do you have for me today? And remember, you're lucky we're even letting you ask questions.
Is the president using the justice system for his own personal vendettas against the Democrats?
Okay, first of all, fix your tone. Second of all, if the president hates someone, you should hate them too. That's how this works. Okay? Like, for example, the president hates you. And honestly, given all the attitude you just gave me, same. Next question.
The president says he will release the Epstein files, but critics are concerned that the documents will be heavily redacted.
If you were in the Epstein files, wouldn't you want them redacted too? Seriously, what kind of woke rat brain question was that? Embarrassing. Next.
Will the president be apologizing for calling a reporter piggy?
Would you all rather he say stuff like that behind your backs?
I think we'd all rather you not say that kind of stuff at all.
Oh, really? I guess you also hope that he does the things that he says he's gonna do? I mean, like, grow up, piss brains.
Please don't call me that.
That's what you sound like. It's embarrassing.
So there you go. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Vlogmas number 5 is landing tonight. Dina has set her stall. She laid out a stall of what she's planning to do with our hallway. Let's see how it goes, guys. Let's see how it goes. Have a good day. God, yeah, it's 2 o'clock. I keep thinking it's still 10. Have a good Friday, and we will see you tonight for the premiere of Vlogmas.